Welcome boys and girls, though probably only boys, to another beer log where we discuss very important matters. Today we have quite a topic, which is raiding in World of Warcraft Classic easier than in retail? Is it easier or is it harder? Now this is probably a topic that's been discussed for ages, for probably like 4 months, so that's not exactly ages, but you get the point. There's been a number of videos about it, etc, etc. So why the fuck am I making this video? Primarily because I have a really, like, the videos out there, the discussions out there, that kind of really rub me the wrong way for a few specific reasons. There's like three kind of arguments that I really... Oh shit, I forgot my hat, but I digress. Anyway, so three arguments that I really fucking hate, and a lot of people keep mentioning them. So the first one that you'll hear quite often is that retail and classic, they're two different games, so they're so different that you cannot even compare them. Which is kind of bullshit. Why cannot you compare them? I mean, just fucking measure how much effort an average person needs to put into one game, and then how much effort he needs to put into another game, and just, you know, which one requires more effort. That's it, done deal. So I think the very nature of this kind of argument is just bullshit. Now the second thing is, I think there was a video by Platinum WoW, I think, kind of overlooking this topic. And the conclusion he came to is that World of Warcraft Classic is harder than retail in a certain aspect, which is organizationally, or however you pronounce that word, but you get the point. So here's my problem with that argument. Basically what Platinum WoW, maybe it was some other guy, I don't really remember. Anyway, well, what he said is that World of Warcraft Classic is harder because you need 40 people to show up every single week for your raid night. And, you know, getting 40 people to not do dumb shit and always show up, it's extremely hard. Now, here's the thing though, like ever since I was, I don't know, 15 or something, maybe 14, I was playing video games competitively. I was never like top star at the country, but I was always like top 5% or something. So I was pretty fucking good at shit. And I've been building teams. I had like, I don't know, I've built like 3 teams in Counter-Strike 1.6. I built like 2 free teams in League of Legends. I think those 2 games were primarily what I played competitively. And let me tell you this, even though you only need 5 people in those games, it's much fucking harder to do that than 40-man raids in Classic. First of all, in Classic, you don't need the same 40 people showing up for a raid, maybe for an Extramus, but even then, if you have the knowledge, if you can explain the tactics, you don't really need the 40 people, the same 40 people. You can have some substitutions, even more so when, you know, there's only... Like, you don't need even specific numbers of each class, like whether you go into Molten Core with 10 rogues or 8 rogues, it doesn't fucking matter. Sure, you need 4 tanks, as long as you have that, that's pretty fucking good. Maybe 3 is enough, I don't know, I'm not a raid leader, okay? But, you know, you have a lot of leeway. Even if you have, like, let's say too many tanks, one of them just switches to DPS gear and you're fucking golden. So you don't have this toughness wherein, oh yeah, what I forgot is that raiding in Classic is pretty much a twice a week deal. That's it. You raid twice, you're done, you're good. You only need people to show up twice a week. That's fucking easy. Compared to any other competitive game out there, you need the same 5 people because substitution is out of option, because your entire communication, team play, everything will go out of sync fucking immediately. And, you know, you'll just fuck up, you lose everything. So you might even learn, you might even unlearn more than learn while playing with a substitute. That's one thing. Another thing, in those games, you're pretty much forced to play like 5 times a week. So if a question is whether getting 40 people out of 45 show up twice a week, or the same 5 people to show up every single fucking day of, you know, weekday, working day, I will always say the harder option is getting those 5 people to show up 5 times. I don't think it's even close. Now, the third argument, or lack of actually, is fucking add-ons. Add-ons just bug the shit out of me. Like, some add-ons are so fucking stupid. There's no other word calling them than just straight up cheating. You know, like bigwigs in rating, it's just fucking cheating. It tells you everything you fucking need to know. You know, Ragnaros is going to swing his hammer so all melee fucking outs in the next 2 seconds. If you don't have it, you probably fucking wipe, or at least, you know, lose half of your melee, or put a massive strain on the healers. So that's just fucking cheating in my eyes. I just don't see how it's not. I honestly don't fucking see it. So that's one thing, and I guess the other part to this add-on argument is that the developers actually intended the game to be played this way. So I'm having like massive conflicting feelings over it. On the one hand, sure, it was intended to be played this way. On the other hand, was it really to this extent? Maybe, you know, developers imagined add-ons, something like, you know, UI fixes. Maybe just framing, I don't know, recoloring the damage text, whatever. Something of that sort. You know, convenience and not cheating. So, I don't know. I just find that the lack of add-ons being mentioned when when describing how difficult rating in Classic is just kind of unexcusable. But I don't know. That's just my personal take. Either way, with all of that aside and already mentioned, I believe I have found the true answer to whether Classic or Retail rating is easier. And the answer is, it depends. It depends on one specific thing, which is available resources. Now, what I mean by available resources is basically the knowledge available to the players. The reason behind this is kind of this very unique design that Classic has, which I actually couldn't come up with a single other game that would have the same model. Basically, what Classic has is this incredible punishment system, this overwhelming punishment that just fucks you up so hard. You know, when you misposition, let's say, Onyxia raid, if you do not know the proper positioning, if you as a melee DPS stand behind her tail, she will fucking twag you, or I'm not even sure if that's a word, but you know, you get it. She'll fucking knock you into whelps, you'll spawn a gazillion of whelps, and they will probably continue to wipe your entire raid. Now, this is a punishment that's so overwhelming, you know, one single mistake can cause the entire raid to wipe. I kind of have a problem, an issue of replicating in just about any other game. I just couldn't find any examples. Like, the closest game in terms of this kind of design that I could come up with is actually, it's actually real fucking life. I couldn't honestly come up for the life of mine of a game that would have a similar design. You know, you take something like chess, it doesn't have this overwhelming, it is complex as fuck, but it doesn't have this overwhelming punishment. But in life, if you fuck up, I don't know, you may die. That's pretty overwhelming punishment in my book. Now, on the other hand, if we talk about mechanical difficulty, you know, how mechanically demanding Classic is, it's just not. It's just not at all. So, we have this very weird scenario where mechanically, it's super easy. It's just that you don't know what you should be doing mechanically. So, at the same time, if you don't do anything mechanically, you'll be severely punished. So the game kind of encourages you to explore. But when you do explore and when you make, you know, the wrong conclusion or you take the wrong action, it's just going to punish you so fucking hard that you'll cause the entire raid to wipe. So it's a very unique design. And the best kind of explanation, or I guess conclusion that I came up out of this is that the learning curve in Classic and just about any other game is completely different. And this is probably where all this argument is coming from, which game is harder. So if I had to illustrate the learning curve in Classic in a graphic, or let me start over. If I had to illustrate the learning curve of a typical game, you know, whether it's action RPG, MMO, MOBA, whatever, you name it, FPS shooter, it's probably like a 45 degrees line. Maybe it's curved a bit to one end, to another end, but it's roughly like 45 degrees. Because when it comes to mechanically demanding games, which most of the games right now are, most of the games, the demanding part of the game comes from mechanical execution. Whether it's something like, I don't know, RTS, like let's say even StarCraft, you still need to be able to mechanically execute, like on those very short time frames, you need to do a lot of actions. So you can always, in this type of games, you can always cut down, let's say, your reaction timer by 0.5 seconds and improve just slightly, or 0.1 second and improve just slightly. In Classic, it's just so fucking easy when it comes to mechanics. You can literally just, raid with one fucking hand and not do anything with your mouse. There's barely ever scenarios where you really need to think and then react quickly. I mean, take Molten Core, the entire Molten Core. What kind of mechanics do you have there? Decurse on a couple of bosses, and then taunt the monster mob when he gets loose, and then, well, rogues have to kick some healers. That's it. We're talking about a couple of hours raid on average, and you have like 3 times when your mechanical skill is put to the test. And even then you have like, I don't know, full fucking minute to react or something. It's just ridiculous. Mechanically it's super easy. But if you do not have the information about the game, you're just going to fuck up. So that's why the learning curve in Classic is pretty much a 90 degrees wall. Like, all the mechanics from the get-go. There's nothing to learn there. But the complexity of the game is pretty much a 90 degrees wall. But here's the thing. Once you get past that 90 degrees wall, once you know all the mechanics, it just flatlines. That's it. There's nothing else to learn. There's nothing to execute on. And that's it. You're done. You know the game inside and out. There's nothing new that's going to come out. There's nothing to execute on. There's nothing to improve on. Like, sure, you can improve. Like, guys are fucking beating Molten Core in like under 30 minutes. That's pretty fucking impressive. But they're not exactly beating the game more than you do. You can only run this raid once a week anyway. So whether you do it in 2 hours or 30 minutes, there's kind of no difference. Like, you don't get more gear because you clear it faster. No. So kind of speedrunning is, I don't know, it doesn't exactly fit this argument, fit this entire discussion, this entire topic in my eyes. So yeah, like we have a typical game where the learning curve is like 45 degrees, and then you have World of Warcraft Classic where the learning curve is a fucking 90 degrees wall. That's it. So, like I said, my answer is, it's stupidly simple. It depends on the knowledge available to the players. If we take, Classic from ground zero, nobody has played this game, nobody knows shit about it, it's going to be crazy. It's going to take people fucking a year to beat this full game. Year playing fucking hardcore. If we take, any other game, let's say League of Legends even, in a full year playing hardcore, you will probably get to something like Gold, which, like hell, you can get to late game, whatever late game is considered in League of Legends, which is probably 5v5 pre-made team fights. You can get to it much earlier, and you'll pretty much know all the shit you need to know, like information. It is just kind of, you need to execute on it. Basically, before you have all the information available in Classic, it's just so much tougher to gather that information than in any other game. It will take you a longer time to gather all that information required. But if we're looking this, from a long-term perspective, like eventually, World of Warcraft Classic will be a super easy game, which we're pretty much seeing right now, people beating Molten Core in 30 seconds, just because they have all the knowledge they need. But in something like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, I don't know, even retail, there's always something you can improve on. Unlike Classic, it's a finite game pretty much. Once you have knowledge, that's it. Nothing to do there. I don't know if that's depressive or not. I just find it fascinating that a game can actually allow itself to have a 90 degrees fucking learning curve wall and still be so enjoyable. I don't know, pretty fascinating. And just overall, the overwhelming punishment kind of idea. Not a single other game. Well, maybe like hardcore mode in Diablo franchise, and if other action RPGs have hardcore mode, I'm not sure actually. But maybe that's overwhelming punishment as well. That's probably it, but you can always just repeat. So it's kind of similar. But anyway, that's my answer. That's the answer I am happy with. It depends on the knowledge available to the players. If there's none, Classic is fucking harder just because getting to the late game, just because finding, like exploring everything the game has to offer will take you a much longer time than just about any other game. But if you have 15 years of knowledge, then, you know, if Nextramus was released tomorrow, people would probably be able to do it tomorrow. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for this video. What else? I hope you folks enjoyed it. Yeah, see ya. Bye.
Hey, this sounds just like you smashing that subscribe button after seeing this video.